Tarot, I wanted to do an advanced tarot course or advanced tarot snippets. So basically, I'm just going to put together everything from my other classes or other courses together, bring it all together. I've had a couple of people ask me, when you do a reading, how do you know all this stuff? I don't see any of this stuff. So let's put together kind of what we have so far. So the first thing that we have is the Seven of Swords. Now you remember from the astrology that we're talking moon in Aquarius, right? So moon in Aquarius, there's a lot of emotion here. Let's sort of move everything. We have a lot of emotion in our first card, which is interesting because obviously it's stealing something or heisting something, right? A lot of different things to look at. Number one, he used to be part of the circus. You remember that from my tarot symbolism. He was a part of the circus. He has the outfit on, it's, the hat on, etc. Second thing is he's taking something away and he's leaving a little behind, but he is taking a substantial thing away. The next thing to note is he is moving. So we have movement from the basic course. We have a movement to this way. Now there's nothing over here. In other words, that's the void. If you want to know the void, movement, you want to know any of this stuff, watch my other videos. So we have the void. He's moving that away into nothing, okay? So now we have, let's say, a relationship reading. Your first obvious thing is we have emotions embedded in here. We have moon. We have the that feeling of intuition as well, right, from the moon. And the second thing, we're leaving. So the first question I would ask is, who's leaving? Right? Someone's leaving. It could be a relationship reading. Maybe someone's leaving. Maybe someone's thinking about leaving. I say thinking because you have a couple of things left over, but they're leaning heavily towards leaving. The second thing I would say is, are you sure, or is this person sure what they're leaving for actually exists? We have that all the time, right? Well, not all the time. We occasionally have that where we'll ditch a relationship and go to another relationship, and we'll get to the other relationship. They're like, nah, I didn't really want, kind of bored of that. So they were never really serious. And that could be happening because you're moving into the void. There's nothing over here. There's no cards over here. You're moving into the void. So are we sure about that? And the last thing to note is he's pretty happy. This is, you're ready for that move. This is a move that you've been thinking about. This is planned. This is a happy move. Let's say the person is a job reading. You say, are you leaving the job? That's a valid question, right? Are you leaving the job? They could say yes. You're happy about it. And I say you're happy about it. We have other cards where maybe you're not so happy about it, but you're still moving. But no, they're pretty happy about it. So they're like, yeah, I got another job, but there's the void over here. Are you sure that other jobs are really lined up? I mean, you may want to double check or get some confirmations that where you're moving to is the void. So you get some confirmations that where you're moving to is still there or actually exists, right? So now you sort of interactively talked about the job reading where you're leaving. Sometimes in a relationship reading, too, when you're leaving or someone's leaving the relationship, they'll take something, right? People, like I had one person I was in a relationship with, and they ended up trying to steal a bunch of stuff. So, we could be back to the roots of the card, right? The seven, the roots of the card. So the next thing to talk about is the seven. What about the seventh house? The seventh house of astrology is relationships. So this could be something with relationships as well, right? Even if we have something totally off. So let's say someone is doing a general reading. They'll say, all right, Mr. Tarot guy, give me a reading. I'll say we have emotions. We have that moon. We have emotions, and we have the seventh house, the seventh house, and you're moving into something that doesn't exist. Does this have to do with relationships? We're sort of rounding out the emotional connection with the moon, the seventh house connection with other people. So it could be relationships, not only a love relationship, but maybe workmates or something like that. A lot of times, you ask people, are you moving away from work? Are you happy about it? And they'll say no, because maybe they're not so happy about it, because they're leaving their work. Maybe it's something where they need to be away from work, right? They need to be away from work because they're moving in with family members, or they're changing companies, or something like that. So it could be something where they decided to leave, and that seventh house is going to kick in, and they're going to miss a bunch of people. They have connections there. That's why the 7 is there. They have connections there. This is not a job where they don't know anybody. They hate everybody. They're ready to leave. This card with the 7th house deals with other people. So you want to find out what is the dealio with the other people, and with the emotion with that moon, and with that connection, right? Again, into the void. So now we've spent 6 minutes talking about one card. And if you're interacting with a client, you got 10, 15 minutes talking about, what's going on with the client, things like that. You haven't even started to use your intuition yet, right? You haven't even started to use the intuition yet. So obviously this is not mandatory. This is sort of an advanced, sort of rounding out everything else I've taught. But if you're watching this, I'm assuming you watch some of the other stuff. I doubt anyone just clicks on the word advanced and goes, ooh, let's start with that. Okay, so next card in the series would be, let's say, the 2. So now the 2 is card interactions. He's moving away from the 2. Let's say the 2nd house, okay? The 2nd house of your possessions, maybe your money, things like this. The 2nd house of your possessions. You're kind of private with your possessions, is what I'm getting from this as well, right? You're kind of private with your possessions. And again, you have emotion in here. You may have a little bit of emotional attachment to your possessions. I don't master the obvious. Everyone has emotional attachment to their possessions. Some people just hate their crap, right? I mean, you got that car that always causing problems. You just hate it. It's your possession. You don't really love it. So it is possible to not be too connected with your possessions type thing. Second thing is we have the closed body language, or the blinding, or the sort of ignoring things outside of your reality, or maybe outside of your imagination, or ignoring things. So this is a self-inflicted blindfold. They're not chained up or anything. So it's a self-inflicted blindfold. And as well, we have the next card as a 2 also. So we have a lot of things going on. Now he's moving away from this. He's moving away from this. He's moving away from the blindfolded, or the lack maybe of information, the lack of input. So now we have more context to leaving the job. Did you leave because a lot of people weren't sharing information with you? Or maybe you saw something that you didn't want to see, type thing. And we have the double 2 here. Are they paying you enough? We have the blinded 2 card, right? Are they paying you enough? And again, we have the double moon. So is this an attachment that you had at work? Or the people that you were attached to at work, which sort of goes with the same question we had over here, but now it's sort of doubly enforced as well. So now we have the moon in Libra for this particular card. So now we have the moon here, and we have the moon here. It's very important to sort of note this as being, now we're sort of back to relationships. Even if you left work, again, we're still back to the relationships. Now we also have Libra to consider, and the balance. Let's say this was upside down. How much of an imbalance did we have at work? Is there something, because a lot of times at work, they preach work-life balance, and yet they make you work 12 hours a day. So what kind of crap is that, right? So was there an imbalance if it was upside down? So maybe we're trying to get something into balance. Maybe this is trying to get something into balance. Did something happen in the relationship to where someone took a lot from you? In other words, maybe there was an imbalance in the relationship, or balance issue in the relationship, and that's why you're moving away. And I say balance because maybe we have a situation where one person does all the housework and the other person's, sort of a sloth or, whatever. Maybe we have an imbalance, or maybe we're striving for balance. Also, we could be moving away from balance. Maybe the work was balanced and you're moving into an imbalanced situation over here into the void, right? So you could be moving out of a balanced situation and taking something with you. So again, we're like 11 minutes in. We've only talked about 2 cards. So the blind, what are you purposefully trying to not see? What are you ignoring? That would be the next question. What aspect of this move are you ignoring? There's something that you're ignoring. And we have double moon, could be using intuition, or you could use your intuition to fix that, or you could use your intuition to have a little more knowledge. We have the double moon, could be double intuition. You have an opportunity now to know more than you think that you know by using your intuition. It's time to trust your intuition with this double hint of the moon that we have here as well. And now we're in Jupiter in Capricorn, right? Still the 2. Went from 7 down 5. Now it's important to know that we're down 5. 5 is traditionally a very combative, a very bad type of number. Most 5s and most decks have, fairly not good cards type thing. So 5, a lot of conflict there. With the 5 of Wands, we have conflict, etc., etc. So we're down 5. Are you moving away from conflict as well? Is there some conflict that's happening? So we just subtracted these 2, right? So now we're back to 2. Now we're moving away from money almost, moving away from the second house. And there could be a possession. There could be moving away from a possession. Maybe there's a possession that maybe you're moving out of a house, right? So I'm moving out of a house because I'm changing jobs or something like that. That would be my next question. Is there something, well, that'd be the 4th house. But I mean, you know what I mean, right? The possessions. So we're moving away from that towards something else. Now we're down to this card here. So again, if you look at Thoth, this is change. It's Jupiter in Capricorn. Capricorn, the work sign, right? Capricorn, the work sign, the reliable sign. Maybe a bit too much on the serious side. Capricorn, here we go, right? So, but we have Jupiter, so there's an expansion. I'm wondering now, is this related to work even more because we have that Jupiter? So maybe we have additional, remember Jupiter expands. Maybe we have additional work that was just overloaded or too much. And again, we're coming back to the work-life balance. Maybe work-life balance wasn't there. Maybe we're out of balance here, right? The change. And the change is, well, because he's sort of after all of these cards, I'm wondering, since we do have that intuition link, was the change known a long time ago? We have the juggler. The juggler is off balance a bit. You remember my video on balance? The juggler is off balance a bit. Maybe you were thrown off balance because you had to juggle too much. That Jupiter at Capricorn, maybe we're looking at overloaded work responsibilities, or maybe somebody left work and they just sort of dumped. You know how you have that? Somebody left and they're like, here, you do all of that person's tasks and your job too. So you could be looking at that situation as well. So again, we're just 3 cards and we have this wealth of information if you just use all of the sort of the tools that we've sort of instilled from start to finish with some of the other content. And again, I mean, a lot of people are going to reply, I just use my intuition, which is cool. But again, this is advanced, so I'm assuming that you've watched at least some of the other videos. If not, please feel free to check them out. Again, this is just someone asked, they really sort of didn't really understand the context of my reading. So I'll get a reading, and I'll throw down a few cards. I'll throw down 5 or 6 cards, and I'll go through the reading. What I wanted to do here was put it all together and sort of come in from the start to finish as to what's going through my head, what types of things are we juggling, are we dealing with, juggling, get it? Juggling, dealing with, etc. If you would like to see a full advanced tarot class, let me know, and we can sort of go through these types of things together. And hopefully that explains a little bit of my mindset when I'm going through a reading. Again, this is just me, you know. Sometimes I'll throw down cards, do intuition. Sometimes I'll go through the whole set. So again, let me know what you would like to see, and hopefully this has helped maybe a couple of people. Thank you so much for watching.